All right, now what we want to do is talk about high notes a little bit, but something very specific about high notes. I get requests that say, Mr. Trimble, how is it possible to pronounce my vowels without changing the shape of my throat? Well, maybe it's not. I'm not going to argue with it, but when I go to the doctor and I have him look down my throat and I say, what am I doing? And I go, I go, I'm not changing anything. When I do this, and I'm trying to make sure I don't leak air, and I go like this. La 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 la, how you doing? Let's go down and get something to eat. You can understand every word I'm saying. I would say perhaps minimize the movement in the mouth and throat, because when I do dental consonants, I have to flick my tongue like this. La 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 la. If the rule is the jaw is going to be relaxed, what Dame Ava Turner called the visible jaw. So for my jaw to be totally relaxed, like this, I have to go la 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 sa sa sa. I go through the alphabet and practice that, right? Sa sa si so so. Right, da 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 la la. So go da 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 da. It's all done down here. I take a breath behind me. In this case, I'm going. I'm using a little teeny breath stop, or I stop my exhalation. I go, and then I hold it there. I don't let it move, and I give sufficient pressure to equalize the resistance of my vocal cords. The old geezers tend to start wobbling a little bit, and these muscles sort of get weaker, and the vocal cords are still okay, but sometimes the diaphragm doesn't want to cooperate. But all the young singers should really never have a problem with this at all. It's still even easy for me. So if it's easy for me, it should be easy for you. Now, if I modify my vowel, or modify my throat, or lift my palate, or do anything, it breaks a couple of rules of the old bel canto school. Number one was no action in the throat. So I'm supposed to sing like this. I'm supposed to breathe. As Marcel Assembly said, like an oval lying on its side. Now I'm supposed to sing through that just like I'm singing through a megaphone. La 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 la. And I don't go la 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 and put my jaw up and down. And I certainly don't open my jaw like this. What language do you know that's spoken like that? Hi, how are you today? Can I speak any language like that? And für ihr хорошо. Es sieht aber sehr wunderschön, wir müssen aber nicht zur Stadt gehen. Vogliamo andare nella città per comprare qualche cosa per mangiare. Who talks like that? Nobody. Only a few bad singers who are going, they look like a worm, like a baby bird begging for a worm. The sad part is that I can sing that way. See? If I sing in my nose, I go ma 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 ma, and I've got this false mask, and I'm resonant here. Ma 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 ma. Now I'm running out of space. I have no room, so now I've got to modify the vowel. So I go ah. See? So again, who do we know who talks like that? So any kind of vowel modification is also breaks the rule of no action in the throat. The second rule was no change of emission. So if I'm going la 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 la, I'm not only modifying the vowel, changing my throat, using my soft palate and all this stuff, I'm also, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. That's the third law of motion. So if I make an action, I'm going to get a reaction. And the reaction will cause me to change my emission. So if my emission is like this, and very smooth, and I go to my high notes, I'm not supposed to change the emission. So when I go up, I'm supposed to maintain the sameness because the reaction to nothing is nothing. So I don't get a reaction in my breathing that makes me change my emission. Get the idea? So the whole idea is that anything I do, I'm supposed to do with as little action as possible so that I can keep my emission the same. So I'm going, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. I can go, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. Do I need to talk like that or not? Or can I talk like that or not? When I go to high notes, everybody has some theory about the high notes, you know. But the lower they sit here in the false mask, and this me, that position, the more you have to modify the vowel or the shape of the throat to get to a high note. You simply can't get up there in this position. I go, I'm choking to death. I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to die if I try to sing my high notes like that. So I can either modify when I get there, or I can get my voice in the true mask. Let's say it's in the ba 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 position instead of the ma 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 ma. So I'll go ba 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 ba. Now I'm going ba ba ba. Now I don't have to modify the language, and I can talk to you normally. Like I say, hi, how are you today? Hi, how are you today? Let's go down and get something to eat. You can understand every word I'm saying, and I'm doing as little as possible here. So some things have to move. If we speak languages, we are supposed to speak by using the tongue. La, right? I say la, dama, na, tata, cafe. Dama, na, tata, cafe. I don't go, dama, na, tata, cafe. I don't talk like that. I shouldn't, right? So look at the Spanish. If you say Spanish, okay? ¿Qué quieres hacer? ¿Qué quieres hacer? ¿Qué quieres hacer? They sing it through this shitty. ¿Qué quieres hacer? ¿Qué quieres hacer? ¿Qué quieres hacer? ¿Qué quieres hacer? What if it's German? What if it's something really busy language, right? Ich möchte in die Stadt gehen. Let's go into the city. Ich möchte in die Stadt gehen. Look how busy that is. Ich möchte in die Stadt gehen. So I try to apply these rules of nothing, no jaw, invisible throat, invisible tongue. And I do that. I say, ich möchte in die Stadt gehen. Ich möchte in die Stadt gehen. Now be careful because the Stadt will get, because it's what the Germans call a flat A, Stadt. It's a very bright clear. I may have to, do I modify my throat? Do I modify my soft palate? Or do I just round the vowel and say Stadt a little bit? I once sang Cavalry Rusticana in Wiesbaden. And at the end, in the famous aria, where he leaves, his farewell aria, so to his mother. And the last note in German, "Si non tornassi," if I don't come back, if I don't return, in German was "Kehr ich wieder," "Kehr ich nicht wieder" on a high B flat. So I opened it up a little bit. I went, "Kehr ich wieder." Of course, my tongue comes up so I can say an E. "Kehr ich wieder." Well, afterwards, the new intendant, the new director of the opera company, came up to me and said, "Mr. Trimble, we say wieder for again. We don't say wieder, which is a male sheep, a ram." So sometimes it's a little bit fun. It's funny. On the other hand, I don't know if I could have sang wieder, but maybe I could have. I didn't try. So sometimes you're singing a tone and you are sacrificing the word a little bit. So what actually moves in the throat and what should not, right? If you don't change the shape of the throat, la la li la la li la la li de 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 da 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 la yeah. So the tongue is moving up and down a little bit, right? The back of the tongue, however, is completely loose. So I go. Now the back of my tongue is loose. Now I've got to be able to go up with those notes. So I go, la. Look at that. It's all diaphragmatic. So the more we mess around with no use of the throat, no use of the tongue, and no use of the jaw. I always quote Dame Ava Turner, who was the first Tournadont in England in history. And she always said, she was taught by a student of Manuel Garcia II, a man named Dan Rotham. And the whole school was the invisible throat, the invisible jaw, and the invisible tongue. And if you can't sing here, you must sing somewhere else. So our breathing method was to pull the abdomen in, breathe way down your lower back, and go. Then do nothing here, and go, ah, 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 ah. Now where is it? Ah, ah, ah. Hello, how are you today? It's so nice to see you. See, I'm trying to minimize. I only have to close my mouth to say MVPBF. So I can say, most valuable player, bully, fellow. Do I want to move that much? Look. Mamma, mamma, vanne, vanne, papa, ba 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 bagina, ba 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 bagina. Now when I come to the high note, I go ba ba bo bo bo. Do I do that? Do I say po bagina on the top? I do go ba 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 bagina, ba bagina, ba bagina, ba bagina. I can still make the diction. I can still get my lip out. I can make it sound like a European language in this case, because we tend to say and the Italians say but they all like to have the lip protruded. So I can practice those things, but right now I'm trying to figure out how to get to high note without changing the shape of my mouth. This is Caruso. I didn't dream this up. Caruso said in his book, never change the shape of your mouth when you go to a high note. Now, what does that mean? See? So I'm going to go la 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 la. Now how to get to the high note? So if I don't use this, I can't get it, but I don't say a prayer. So I breathe behind me. See the shape of my mouth? Then I go, ah, ah, ah. And there it is. I go, la 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 la. You'll notice that the note very, very much is sitting up here in the higher, and it carries like a rocket. And if you sing the spinto repertoire, what they call the youthful hero repertoire that I sang in Europe, and we would call it lirico spinto or spinto maybe. But when you're singing those monster parts, you don't want a little boo, because you get covered. If it falls back too far, boo, you're singing off the top of your head. You have to be careful. You'll get a darker sound maybe, and you can fool some people some of the time that way just by singing dark. But what you want is a sound that'll go to the back of the hall, and it's got to be easy and it's got to be reliable. So if I do nothing here, absolutely nothing here, then all I have to do is compensate somewhere else. That's the whole trick. You know, Dame Ava Turner with her beautiful English accent. So, you know, darlings, if you don't use this at all, you must use something else somewhere else, mustn't you? That's logical, isn't it? Well, as a matter of fact, Dame Ava, it is. So if you're not going to let me use this, you know, and another teacher would say, coach, you'd say, cut off your head. Cut off your head, saying like you don't have a head. It's just a resonator. It's just a bell sitting on top of there, and all it does is resonate. You're not supposed to use it to sing with. So if I say, mama, ba, 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 la, 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 fa, fi, fi, fo, fum, I have to close my mouth to make the labial, which means lips, the labial consonants. So I have to absolutely go, fa, fe, fi, fe, fa. So if I sing it, I still try to minimize here and go, fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. So what am I doing? See, when I do that, I'm doing as little as possible. So instead of saying, we don't try to be Caruso. Caruso's the greatest singer that ever lived, and we don't try to imitate anybody anyway. What we try to do is do nothing here and find our real natural voice. You know, Sir John Gielgud used to speak like this all the time. Now is the winter of our discontent. Well, shall I sing that way? Shall I imitate him? You know? How shall I speak? Dammi la tazza che vogliamo andare in città per comprare qualche cosa per mangiare stasera. How shall I speak? What shape shall I speak through? Shall I talk like this? All you singers that are out there pulling the shin down and putting your head down and going like this. Oh, that's the way I sang as a bass when I was in college. Sing just like that. Right? It should be like this. Hello, first of all, I got all these pictures. I got dozens of pictures of the great singers caught in the act of singing. And Beniamino Gili's got his hands in his pocket. He's got his head like this. Tito Schipa always sang with his head like this, right? I've got one of Caballé, Montserrat Caballé, singing high B flat at the end of Vicidarte from Tosca. And she sings the whole aria, but she gets to the high B flat at the end, she does this. I've got one of Teresa Stratus doing a back bend on a high C. In other words, the singers that are tremendously successful tend to sing this way, and those few that have great natural voices that sing this way, or get a lot of tracheal resonance, sound like something they're not, all of them have short careers, and they all damage their voices, you know? I remember one of the baritones became very successful, American baritone, and he always had his head like this. And he was teaching some of the younger kids to keep their chin on their chest like this. Well, what happened to him? He wrote in his book, oh, I was always allergic, always allergic. Well, would you be allergic if you did this and you're blowing air through your throat all the time? And he finally popped the vocal cord, and his career was over. That was it, you know? Franco Corelli is another one. Franco Corelli, this fantastic singer. He was singing like this. You talk about singing high notes and not changing the shape of your mouth. He used to do it all the time, like this. He said, in van nascondo la mia vera tortura. Why would I change the shape of my mouth? First of all, he is Italian. He speaks it fluently, and you don't see him talking like that, do you? What Italian do you know who talks like that? Or German, or anybody. How about a Frenchman? Right? How am I going to sing these languages when I've got my chin down like this, my head down like this? You know? So, I forgot what I was talking about. We were talking about, I don't remember what I was talking about. I'll come back to it later. So here I am. The trouble with tenors is that this is all hollow up here. See, and it's for resonance, so we don't think very well. So I can't even remember what I sang 1 minute ago, or said 1 minute ago. But I do know that when I sing, I should breathe behind me, right? Preferably smile, which is the great recommendation, which is to do this, right? No, I can do that, it looks sad, and I can do that, it look angry, and I don't have to do this kind of all the time. Right? What about ooh? Ooh, has anyone seen the pictures of Caruso demonstrating the vowels? Have you ever seen that? Right? This is Caruso demonstrating the vowels. It's hanging on my wall. That's an ah. Look how his corners are pulled back. Look at the no teeth showing. His tongue is sitting on his lower lip, and there's a great groove under his lower tongue. And then you look up here. Oh, what's that? That's what is that? An E vowel, and here's an E vowel, and here's an O vowel, and there's an U vowel. You see the shape? Look at that. See the corners are back? He's not kissing his sister. My French coach used to say, kiss your sister. Now sing ooh. Ooh. Well, that may be an ooh, pal, but it's not something that I can use in the theater because nobody's going to hear it. So I sing like this. Ooh. And now I'm not imitating Caruso, but he is a great, great singer, and he certainly knew how to form his mouth and his throat for those of that. It was his language. So if I do this, if I go, ooh, I have no sound. If I go, oh, I can make some kind of sound. Now, what about when I go to high note? Oh, now I'm free to put my head any position I want. I don't have to do this. Stage director loves me because he thinks I'm a good actor because I'm physically free to put my head any place I want. See? So, the more you get this freedom up here, the freer you will be as an actor and as a singer. And you know, I'm 80 years old now, and I teach and sing all day long, and I talk all day long, and I'm on the phone half the night, and my voice is still here. I haven't lost it. Why? Because I don't use it. I don't use anything from here to here. From here to, maybe not from here to here. I don't know. But the point is not to use this. So if my tongue is loose, now how do I go to a high note? Well, I don't get to the high note by doing this. See? I do it by leaning my breath. What shall I be doing? What shall I be doing? And where do I sing everything? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm doing it from here down. And from here up. So I hope this will help those those folks that are a little bit confused, and I keep, I keep passing on what I thought was information. It might just be confusion, for which I apologize, but don't blame me. Richard Tucker said, breathe behind you and sing in front of you. Now, I was 22 years old? And I was a little confused. I said, breathe behind you and sing in front. What do you mean, sing in front of you? No, sing here in front of you. Then I saw Giovanni Martinelli, the famous historical singer at Caruso's place, and I said, what did your teacher tell you that, 70 years ago, 60 years ago? He said, qui respirare e qui postare. So you got to breathe here and place it here. Put it here. Right? Then I asked Alfredo Kraus. I said, how do you sing? He said, un poco qui, un poco qui. So what is this poco qui that are all talking about? And then he said, just do staccato. How do I do that? For those of you that have strange accents, let's say you come from New York, you're from Long Island, and you talk like this, and you're from Brooklyn, you talk like that, or you're from New Jersey, and it's getting slower and slower, or you're from down in Texas, whereabouts I'm from. Everybody has some kind of phonation thing that doesn't really sound Italian. So how do we phonate our vowels so people can understand us? And let's face it, I had to learn to speak English. I spoke a dialect. All my younger years. When I got to New York, all of a sudden I had to do this all the time. It's one of the old Vic School exercises for Shakespearean actors. And do this. How are you doing? It's so nice to see you. Now, can I sing that way? Absolutely. I don't do anything up here, so it doesn't matter if my mouth is closed. That's why I go also. So, which one is the one? Well, what if I do nothing? You today are feeling fine. Then I can change color. I can be happy. I can be sad. Right? Or I can be angry. They're all the same up here. They're all doing nothing, except I'm thinking happy, angry, sad, nostalgic, wistful. Those of you who sing a lot of art songs and stuff, you got real problems because you don't have imagination. You can't sing them worth a darn. And you should speak all the languages fluently. And you should sing them in a total neutral state in the throat, jaw, and tongue. Invisible. Every time I take a breath, every time you take a breath, it is an opportunity to relax your throat. So I'm going to breathe like this. All these people will say, oh no, don't depress your tongue. They're absolutely right. But you're supposed to get the tongue down by breathing it, not by pressing it with muscles. Therefore, it is wrong to put the tongue up or even to allow the tongue to float up. Because, so you have the ski slope technique where you go, then you have to hold a piece of candy in the middle of your tongue. And raise your palate. And then you have that sound. Well, then people will say, oh, I like that one better. That's the best sound he's made today. Fine. That's your right. Do you know what it means to get out? Yeah, it reminds me when I asked to George London. I said, George London. I said, George, we were great friends. I said, George, tell me, what do you think about all this vowel modification and lifting the palate and all that every time you come to Passaggio note? He says, Mike, please. Do you know what I sing? I sing Wotan. I sing Boris Godunov. Do you want to tell me that I have to do this every time I come to a Passaggio note? Are you crazy? So when you talk to real professional singers, man, they're worried about, I did Meistersingen from Nuremberg. That's 5.5 hours. Does that mean for 5.5 hours I'm going to go all night long? Be reasonable, folks. First of all, no language is spoken that way. Second of all, you can't get through hours and hours of singing, plus all the rehearsal time, plus your vocalizing, and the rest of your life that you're living. You can't go or have enough street to get out and sing that way. Not in the big operas. You may get through a recital where you can pick the songs and pick the keys, but man, man, let me tell you, when you start singing some of these big monster operas, you can't, but something like Pete Dahmer and Tchaikovsky is like 5 or 6 Toscas. I mean, it is an endless bang you roll. I sang it a lot, sang it all the time. And what do? Well, you go out there by saying, I want to sing like this. Okay? So I sing, se corgeriere fossi, se il mio sogno si avverasse. Now, do I need to sing that loud? That's the other question. Se corgeriere fossi, se il mio sogno si avverasse. Do I need more than that? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I sang all this stuff a lot, and I'm telling you, man, you can always give more. Franco Corelli, I mentioned a while ago, Franco Corelli started using the bowing the neck method. And if you hear, the do nothing method, and then you bow your neck, it sounds like this. Hear that? So if I'm singing Otello, I'm going, ora sempre a Dio, santa memoria. What if I bow my neck? Ora per sempre a Dio, santa memoria. Except he blew a vocal cord, and it wrecked his voice, and his career was over. So you can fool some of the people some of the time. So how does that go? You can fool. I guess you can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time, especially yourself, because you start messing around with all of these contortions and distortions and all the stuff you have up here, and guess what? You're gonna have a short career, my friend. And those people that get in vocal trouble, that have these big problems with their voices, I'm telling you, man. So, you know, I was using this paper. I've already done a tape on this paper pretty much about don't leak. But if I go blah, 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 the paper doesn't move. Now when I go to high note, I go nascondo la mia vera tortura. Why would I blow air to move the paper when I'm trying to survive and get through this opera and sing again tomorrow night and the night after and the night after? Sometimes you sing every night. Big operas. That's the German system, right? So if I'm doing this, then I can practice. I can take all kinds of stuff, you know. Ba 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 ma 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 la 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 da 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 da. I just practice and practice that I don't leak air, and that sound that you get that doesn't leak carries like a rocket. I've been there. I've done that, you know. If I were to sing Otello, good Lord, or some heavy thing, you know, that famous little scene that Siegmund sings in Walküre, you think about it, that big line is Ein Schwert verhieß mir der Vater. How many aspirated consonants do I have there? Shall I blow air on all of them? Think about it, right? Ein Schwert verhieß mir der Vater, ich fand es in höchster Not. If I'm going to sing all that heroic music, I'm sure not going to be blowing air to do it, I can tell you. I'm going to save every drop I can. First of all, it makes me be able to sing longer phrases easier. But the main thing it does is it doesn't let air leak through my vocal cords. If I leak through my vocal folds, as they say, and the air leaks through, your worst enemy is air that leaks through the tone, and your best friend is air that doesn't. Because if it doesn't, it becomes like a drum. It becomes an air box, and all that sound vibrates and helps my tone get bigger and better and hopefully more beautiful, more overtones. But if it starts to leak air and starts to come up here, all of a sudden, oh, guess what? I'm allergic. I'm allergic again. Oh, yeah? I don't think you're allergic. I think you're allergic to singing while you're leaking. You're allergic to leaking air. And you shouldn't be doing it. You should just be going, ha, 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 ha. So what am I doing? How do I go up to a high note and not change the shape of my mouth? So what is the shape of my mouth? Therefore, I create the shape that I want, my megaphone shape. Giovanni Lamperti said in his book the open throat in the Italian school. I did a tape on that too the other day, not too long ago. I don't remember when. But he said the open throat in the Italian school is the same shape as the A vowel in the Italian word S-T-A-I. So I say stai. Now that's the open throat. Stop. Now I got to breathe. Stop. Now I go. And I don't leak air through my nose. And I don't leak air out of my mouth. There's no air coming out. The air is converted to sound, and the air never gets out without making a sound. See? So it's like that. So all I did was breathe. Some singers smile when they breathe. Watch Maria Callas. Like Nikolai Deda did this all the time. And just held his mouth that way all the time. Sang everything. He had a fantastic career. Sang till he was 84. Right? Sang all kinds of different languages. And sang with one fixed mouth. I was watching Bonaldo Giotti last night, a tape. He's got his mouth like this. And he never moves it. It's like this. Huh? Leonard Warren was like this all the time. When I was a little boy, my mama always told me, way, Holloway, oh, Holloway, Joe. Do I need to do this? For what? Why? Do I get the note better that way? Can I keep my emission even? What they call down bow only? Is that down bow only? Do I really want is it musical? What language is that? What language do you speak that way, and is it musical to constantly disturb the line when the whole bel canto school was built on legato? Legato used to be the hallmark of great singing, right? Listen to the great singers, the greatest singers from the past, and how they sing legato, you know, and how they say and they don't go oh. You hear the voice pass. The best I've heard in recent years was Pavarotti. And Pavarotti, here's another great point. Let's talk about this for a minute. This is interesting. If I want a top note to open and spread, I have to make an action. La. Why is that wrong? Well, you can say, I don't like the sound, or I say it's too white, it's too bright. Some people like it because it's very metallic, right? But the real reason it's wrong is because I had to make an action in my throat to do it. If I'm singing correctly, I have to get that note with no action, which to me is what Pavarotti understood better than any of the modern singers that I've heard for a long time. When you go to the high note, if I do nothing, if I do nothing, my voice passes up into what in America we like to call the registers, and we call it what is that? Head register, chest register. I've never been much of a register person because they just happen, and I don't have to worry. But sometimes you get singers that are going, I've got another register, and I think, you know, if you're a professional singer, you got to sing 5.5 hours in a performance tonight. I don't think you're going to be worrying about the registration of every note. I really don't. So if I do nothing in my throat, I've got two choices. Guess what? If I can't use this, that's what happens if I don't breathe. But if I breathe, then I go, and now I've got a breath stop right there. Or the Italians call it punto d'appoggio, a point of leaning. I go, Now look at my throat. I'm going to breathe. My throat's still loose. What am I doing? See? I did nothing here. This is invisible. You let the doctor look down your throat, he can't see you doing anything. To make A and E, your tongue comes up in the front like this to make A, and it comes over like that to make E, and the back of the tongue stays absolutely floppy loose. So if you can't get that, then you go and do that until you can stop flexing muscles in your throat. That's all. I've got about E. They all pass over and go up into my head, and it's none of my business what happens up there, right? I'd like to have had a darker voice, a richer voice, a more beautiful voice, a bigger voice, or what. That's none of my business. My business is to breathe. I weigh about 200 pounds. I'm about 6 feet tall. I take a breath. Now that's my drum. Those are my drums. That's what I had. So I sing like that. Shall I go? Or the head down. Why would I do all of those things? Nobody talks like that. What language is that? So if I do this, now I can't use anything to sing with, to support with, to control my breath with, which means I've got to do it somewhere else. That's logical, isn't it? Remember, David Turner? Where do I do it? So I go, now I had a breath, I had an opportunity to relax my throat. So I'm going, and now my throat's there, and I'm going to go, and that's it. In van nascondo la mia vera tortura. What am I doing? See? You can sing all the languages like that you want. God, I sang so many different languages. And even though I did this, I'm not ready. I've been doing what Nikolai Gedda did. He was a great singer. I should have done what he did. But he made a fixed formation like this. And he held it. Jayati did this. See? Some of the singers use it part-time, like Nicola Zaccaria does this part-time. See? Robert Merrill was a fantastic singer, saying la 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 until he went to high note. With the high note, he'd go, but he'd throw his head back. Right? Jerome Hines did the same thing. You know, very clear middle voice, and the high notes would go, but not Leonard Wine. Leonard Wine, who had the high notes of doom, right? Sang like that. Hi, how are you today? So nice to meet you. But when I was a little boy, why would I go if I don't have to? And we speak English, sort of, right? Why would I talk like that? We have a joke we tell the little children. Hi, I'm a wide-mouthed frog. What are you? Do we want to sing like a wide-mouthed frog? Is that really what we're doing? I don't know, guys. I don't know. I just wish that everybody could breathe in their lower back. Caruso and Lydia Lehman said to pull your, so did Gali Corci, a number of them said, pull your abdomen in when you do it because it increases pressure and forces the back half of the diaphragm to go down. You get a double. I went through with this with the pulmonologist. He said that's how you double your breath capacity. Because I asked him why did Caruso and Lily Lehman talk that much about it. Well, that's how you double it. So they probably could all sing all the big roles and all the little roles. Well, yeah, you know. So if I breathe and it goes down like that, then I don't want all that breath coming back up through my throat, so I stop it. So I go, huh, or, So in Italian they call it il punto d'appoggio. They used to in the old books, the point of leaning. See? So I lean the breath. Tetrasini said in a book to lean your breath from your lower back like you lean a ladder up against the wall. Now think of it. Skipa said to sigh. But if I'm going to use the sigh method, I'm still not going to flex up here. So I hope that demonstrates enough high notes for you to get the idea that you don't have to go or oh. Don't do anything. Be totally neutral here, totally relaxed, like this. Blah. Hi, how are you today? So I say, you're talking like a ventriloquist. Hello, how are you today? So nice to see you. You want to go to town? No, I don't want to go to town. I don't want to go to town. You can understand every word I'm saying. And I'm not doing anything. Look at that. Hello, how are you? How nice to see you. So, if that feels a little too exaggerated loose, well, practice it a little bit because you really can articulate with your tip of your tongue on the front of your teeth, and you can make any language. Believe me, I've done it. I got my reviews. I showed you my reviews about how fantastic my diction was and how they could understand all the words in theater, and all I was doing up there was doing this. La 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 la, die weißes Lied dieser Knaben, sei ich mir ins Herz gegraben. Why do I have to talk any more than that? That's almost an individual artistic solution, because you still got to be able to express the music and express the text. So when I do that, I would be happy, like this. No, you can do anything you want to. Just don't use this. Use something else. Okay, well, I hope this helps, guys. There's a white flag. We will try to give up and surrender, and we hope that this will help everybody, which is the whole point of these videos, believe it or not. Okay? Bye.